The headlines don't stop at DailyMail.com, so here to weigh in on more is our editor-at-large, Piers Morgan, coming to us from London. So, Piers, let's start with White House Correspondents Dinner and comedian Michelle Wolf's controversial performance. In your recent column, you call her speech vicious savagery and say that she played right into Donald Trump's hands. How so?
You know, I've been to that event many times in the past few years, Jesse, and there's always quite a warm event, actually. There's kind of ribbing goes on and people expect that, but it never descends into really nasty and vulgar material. Michelle Wolf is a pretty nasty, pretty vulgar comedian. She's perfectly entitled to do her normal act, and she did. She should never have been booked, in my opinion, because it turned into a bit of an assassination of not Donald Trump, which would have been fair enough, but he wasn't there, but the women who work for him and his daughter, and in particular Sarah Huckabee Sanders, his press secretary, who I thought was attacked in a very personal manner about her looks and about her personality and so on, and it really created a very unpleasant atmosphere in the room. That's not what that event's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be a celebration of all that's good about the US media with some Mickey taking, as we would call it in Britain, you know, just some gentle ribbing, not that kind of savagery. So I thought Michelle Wolf missed the mark, and I think they've got to really think again about the type of people they get to host these events.
All right, Piers, in our last half hour, we showed this video of an owner of a wildlife park in South Africa being mauled by a lion after entering its enclosure. You tweeted, "Why has this lion been put down? Because of a man's stupidity." Disgusting. What do you think should have happened?
Well, look, I just think that the man who turns out to be the owner of this safari park, if you like, he'd gone in there and appears to just be roaming around, and the lion has reacted how lions would react to people roaming around in their compound. It's attacked him. That's not the lion's fault. That's what lions do. And if we're going to keep lions in this kind of captivity, then you have to be more intelligent than this guy was in just wandering around their compound. What you shouldn't do is respond by killing the lion. And yet that's what's happened. So this guy has survived, and there are pictures of him smiling in hospital, and I'm pleased for him that he wasn't killed. But I think he was very stupid to put himself in that position, very naive for a man who actually apparently is the owner. And why should the lion lose its life for doing what lions would do in the wild? I think the whole thing, to me, stinks.
Yeah, apparently he's a lion expert, and it has been reported that he entered the enclosure because he wanted to inspect a smell that he thought was disturbing the lion. Okay, we're going to switch gears now. Tom Brokaw is the latest journalist to be accused of sexual harassment. What do you make of the allegations against him, Piers?
Well, it's a bit of a mess, this, Jesse, because two women came forward and made allegations, and I'm a firm believer in due process with this. They should be listened to and taken seriously, but Tom Brokaw should be allowed to respond, which he did. But what then happened was very unusual. More than 60 members, female members of staff at NBC, signed a letter of support for him within about 48 hours. Now, tonight, we have a new revelation, a third woman coming forward, making allegations that Tom Brokaw hit on her when she was a young woman. Unsubstantiated, unconfirmed, but there's another allegation. And you've got Megyn Kelly, who works at NBC, pointing out that when she was at Fox News, for example, similar thing happened. Allegations came out against some of the men there, and members of staff, female staff, were kind of coerced into offering support, only for far more serious allegations to then emerge. So I think NBC's got itself into a bit of a mess here, and it needs to clean it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, the number of women who have signed that letter defending Tom Brokaw has now climbed to 115 at least. Piers Morgan, as always, thanks for being with us.